welcome back to my channel. This video is gonna be really fun. We're doing a Q&A today. I asked you all on Instagram to submit your questions. Boy, did you deliver once again. I think I'm gonna end up making this one a yearly tradition, so at the end of the year, I'll have you guys ask questions and I'll answer them in a video. I know I do them on Instagram all the time, but I feel like for those of y'all who like miss them or anything, this is a really good chance to just have one that's up forever instead of just 24 hours. So without further ado, let's get started. All right, first question. Do you plan to do more live performances or possibly a tour? I would love to. I don't have anything currently planned. I'm still working on a lot of new music right now. Things slowed down a lot during the pandemic, and then I had a bit of a career shift to supplement the fact that I wasn't doing music anymore because of the pandemic. Really looking forward to bringing music back in 2025. I do have a lot of new stuff in the works. If all of that goes according to plan, fingers crossed, I would love to do a tour with it. And I have big ideas for it. I don't know if they're going to work and I don't know if they're going to happen, but a girl can dream, right? When did your love of sharks begin? It would have had to have been either 4th or 5th grade, I think, when it officially started. There's a book in our school library about Eugenie Clark, and I remember reading it. I couldn't remember the name of the book later on, and then I couldn't remember Jeannie Clark's name. Genuinely, guys, I have like the worst memory when it comes to names. So it wasn't until literally this past year when I was getting a tour of Mote Aquarium in Florida, and they were telling us all about Jeannie Clark, and I saw pictures, and I'm like, I read that book when I was a kid, and like that was just one of those moments that just sort of like flooded back to me. Between then and now, it was a combination of Animal Crossing. There were so many facts in Animal Crossing about sharks. I always loved catching the sharks. I was so excited for the summer months when those little fins started to peek out of the water. On top of that, there was, weirdly enough, the X-Men fandom. Because of X-Men First Class, Michael Fassbender has a very toothy smile. And there were a lot of artists that I followed that would sometimes draw Magneto as a little shark, and I thought that was the cutest thing ever. But that was more of like an aesthetic thing as opposed to like me being like, oh cool, a shark, let me tell you a fun fact about sharks. And then weirdly enough, Left Shark was a catalyst. I don't really know what did it, but I was watching that Super Bowl halftime show with Katy Perry, and then Left Shark came on. I wasn't even aware of the fact that he wasn't dancing in time. I was just looking at him and I was like, wait, sharks are really cool. I need to go research sharks. I don't know why Left Shark did that. But now I just really love sharks. I just think that they're really neat. I think they're beautiful, and I think they're highly misunderstood. Any childhood music you grew up listening to? Oh yeah, okay, I've got 3 main stories for this one. The first one is the first song I ever asked my dad to download for me on iTunes was Wake Me Up When September Ends by Green Day. I don't remember where I'd heard it, but the fact that I asked for a Green Day song, I feel like honestly says a lot about me as a person now. The second and third both involved CDs that my mom would play in her car when I was growing up. When I was really little, she had these CDs and she would tell my sister and I it was Prince Eric from The Little Mermaid so that we wouldn't object to listening to it. It was Josh Groban. So I grew up with a lot of Josh Groban, and there's still a little voice in my head that's like, oh, it's Prince Eric every time I hear him. I still listen to him every time I'm in my mom's car. She still loves Josh Groban, and he's got a beautiful voice, so I'm not one to argue. The third one, a different CD that my mom had growing up, not a Prince Eric one. I didn't know at the time which band it was. I didn't even know the name of the song. I never thought to ask her. It was the song that my mom played in her car that we would never let her change it from. And that song was Unwell by Matchbox 20. And I gotta say, when I was a teenager and heard it again in the wild, and I was like, this song, it's the song my mom always played in her car that we wouldn't let her change. And then I Googled the lyrics, I was like, wow, that's really depressing. So, yeah, Wake Me Up When September Ends and Unwell and Josh Groban. I feel like those were sort of the 3 that like defined my childhood. Honorable mention was my dad had a CD of his favorite songs that he burned. One of the tracks was Here You Come Again by Dolly Parton, and if we were in our dad's car, that was the song he wasn't allowed to change it from. We had to listen to Here You Come Again for the whole drive. We love Dolly Parton in this house. Do you have music up on Spotify/iTunes or other platforms? Do you plan to? You're really amazing. Thank you so much. We do have music up available for streaming. Go to any of your favorite music streaming platforms, search Ariel, Zoe, and Eli. All of our music will pop up there. Would you ever crochet a prop or a piece for a cosplay? Not only would I answer yes, I have done it before. When I cosplayed Star Butterfly, I crocheted my horns and my purse. I'm currently working on a crocheted Chilchuck costume from Dungeon Meshi. I have plans for a crocheted Madoka. I have plans for a fully crocheted Orbiana from League of Legends. Not to mention, I'm actually doing a group cosplay that we're aiming for in 2026 because it will require me to crochet 9 pairs of overalls. I have all the yarn upstairs. I've gotten started. It's gonna take me a long time, especially considering I have Chill Chuck due way before the overalls. Chill Chuck's due for a convention in April, so like fingers and toes, come on guys, cross them for me. But yeah, I love crocheting and I love incorporating it into my cosplays, so that's something you'll definitely see a lot when I'm cosplaying is crochet pieces. How do you see yourself in 5 years? Honestly, I hope I'm still doing music and I hope that I'm content. That's really all I can hope for. I hope I'm surrounded by a really good group of people. I hope I've made really good connections. I hope that I've just continued to follow my passions and what I think is right for me, and I hope that it works out. What is your favorite shark fact? My favorite shark fact. There's so many good ones. You know, I'm just gonna go with one I just told my dad that he loved so much that he's decided that that's his favorite shark. The sand tiger shark, also known as the gray nurse shark, they are the only sharks known to fart. I was in a conversation with some of my friends and we were trying to figure out which animals fart and which ones don't, and I'm like, do sharks? And it turns out just that one, just the sand tiger shark. Sup guys, it's Editor Zoe here to make just a quick clarification. This is just before the shark experts come for me. So what sand tiger sharks do is they go up to the surface and they gulp down air, and then when they're swimming to control their buoyancy, they will release some of that air through their cloacas. And when that happens, bubbles are released, which looks kind of like a shark fart. I was trying to figure out if there was a word for a shark fart, but a shart is something entirely different. So we're not gonna go with that. Anyway, that's all. Keep watching. Have you ever played Helldivers? I haven't yet, but my friends and I are currently on like a pay it forward Helldivers train. One of my friends gave Ariel Helldivers and then she gave me Helldivers, and I'm about to gift one of my friends Helldivers, and then we're all gonna play together. So I don't actually know like anything about it except for the fact that one of my friends is extremely passionate about it, and I'm really excited to get into it. What's your favorite early 2010s YouTube creator? Yeah, that's a good question. I gotta say, during my teenage years, it was Dan and Phil. Absolutely love Dan and Phil. I went to The Amazing Tour Is Not on Fire when I was 17 years old, and it's still a core memory. I've also mentioned my love for Smosh, but I didn't watch Smosh more than like casually watching until I was about 16 years old. That's a story for another day about what Smosh means to me, but I still love Smosh so much. I watch Smosh like almost every single day now. I also really loved Rosanna Pansino with Nerdy Nummies. I did kind of fall off of Nerdy Nummies for a while because I developed a gluten allergy and I was feeling really sad watching all these desserts I couldn't eat. I'm past that now. I will watch all of them. I think it's wonderful. Could you share more ukulele songs? I love it. I play ukulele too. I'm learning. Yes! Yes! I love hearing that. That's so good. I would love to share more ukulele videos. I have a few lined up right now. I'm back to a part-time work schedule, so I'm hoping that that means that there will be more time to play ukulele. What is something you want to embrace more of in 2025? This might sound cliche, but like happiness. My mental health was really bad from 2020 until about halfway through this year. And somewhere around the halfway mark, I just suddenly started to feel really good again. And I'm really liking feeling good, and I want to just take so much time to just be present, to be with my friends, to do the things that I want to do, to not be afraid of doing those things. I just want to embrace the fact that like I'm alive right now and things are good and I'm happy, and I just want to keep that going. And if I can keep that going, then it's going to be a great 2025. Also, if for some reason I can't keep it going, that's not a setback. That's okay. That's going to happen. But at least now I know there's good and it can come back. So I just want to embrace the fact that happiness is a real thing and I'm allowed to have it. Will you, Ariel, and Eli ever do more songs together, or was that only for your younger days? Eli moved, and it's kind of hard to do things as a trio when we're not all in the same building anymore. But Eli and I are collaborating on a song soon. Ariel and I are always working together. That's never gonna end. It's just gonna look a little different. Background story on the ukulele stuff, just recently started to follow you. About 12 years ago, Eli got his first ukulele. And we all had a music lesson day that day. We all had a 30-minute lesson. Eli always did guitar, I always did drums, Ariel always did piano. And that day, Eli brought his ukulele. And I was like, well, that looks interesting. So before I went in for drums, I was like, hey, can I borrow it? And he was like, sure. And so I went in, had my first ukulele lesson, and it just clicked for me. I went home and I was like, hey, can I borrow it again? And he was like, sure. Locked myself in my room for a few hours, came out knowing just like 4 or 5 songs. I just loved it. I was picking it up so quickly, and I went to my dad and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need one of these for myself, and it has to be pink. Long story short, 12 years later. I also wasn't much of a songwriter before I got this because when you're playing the drums are not melodic. So it's really hard to write songs as a drummer, but the minute I got my own ukulele, I started writing songs and I've never stopped writing. Do you prefer music or your day job? They're apples and oranges, honestly. They're two completely different things. I've had multiple different day jobs. I've taught ukulele in a music school. I taught ukulele at a summer camp. I worked at Sephora for a bit. I worked at the Dry Bar for a while. They're all very different things, but they're not comparable to one another. And also, there are bad days in music the same way there are bad days during my day job. As a musician, there have been days where I've done music and I've hated everything, and I've hated myself, and I've hated my job. And there are days with my day job where I've been like, this is the most rewarding experience I've ever had in my life. That being said, music and my day job coexist, and they definitely support and balance each other out. I'm doing my day job to sort of support the music, but then the music also is what inspired me to take on my day job. All right, and that is it for the Q&A. Thank you so much for submitting your questions. Again, I think I'm gonna make the video a yearly tradition, but if you want to do more Q&As more regularly, I do them on my Instagram quite frequently, so make sure to go follow me there. I'm at ZoeRebecca_. Thank you so much for watching today's video. Happy holidays. I'll see you next time. Bye.